Hey, everybody. Welcome in to Day by Day. I'm James. I'm with Andrew. Andrew, how's your week going?
It's going. We're coming off a couple losses, but just trying to stay positive. I think we got a win coming.
I think we got a win coming. I agree. Let's get to a bowl game, take a deep breath, and know that football doesn't end at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It will go on.
Yeah.
Be a good feeling. Well, we'll get into that. We're going to talk UCLA, of course. I want to talk about referees and conspiracy, and then maybe we'll hit on some Husker basketball. So before we get into all that, you can find us at characterchronicles.com, on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Subscribe to the show. That means a lot to us. So those of you who have, we appreciate you listening in. Share, like, comment. That just helps more people find us. You know how the algorithms work. So again, thanks for tuning in. All right. Well, let's start back with Ohio State. To go back to Ohio State, I feel like the officials were the story of the game, unfortunately. I actually think it was a good college football game. It was a good defensive football game, but with all of the missed calls, I think it kind of stole some of the thunder really from both teams. I feel like if all things were equal, Nebraska actually would have won that game by 3 points rather than lost by 4. So any more thoughts on officials? There's a lot going on out there, especially in the media world, and media members emailing the Big Ten, commenting on everything. Of course, Matt Rule got a, or I guess they submitted a kind of not an apology, but like a, half-hearted, we're sorry that the ball was spotted in the wrong place. So you're just curious what your thoughts are as we kind of come out of that. We're out of the emotional stage.
Yeah.
And now we can look back more rationally. So,
well, So I go from kind of the just feeling kind of sick about it, what could have been, to what's the point, because nothing's I can't change the outcome. So I try not to even really dive into it. But you saw the video kind of went viral in Husker world anyway, and some of college football, kind of cut up of all the
cut up,
the missed calls and whatnot. But really, it's the end of the first half, the just egregious misspotting of the ball, claiming they didn't know the guy that they I don't know, missed or didn't recognize the ball carrier. Like, to me, that's just, you have the, the people in the headquarters or whatever watching to send something down, stop the play, spot the ball differently. That one, to me, we lost by 4. If we score a touchdown there, then obviously it's a tie ball game, or we get a chance to win it. So, I don't know.
And there's obviously there's no guarantee we score a touchdown, but when we were driving the ball and you lose 30 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
And I do not want to get into, there's conspiracies, but again, when you see repeatedly every game, significant calls or non-calls at crucial moments of the game, you have to wonder, is there an implicit bias or an explicit bias against Nebraska?
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens to other teams and other conferences. I just don't watch, I don't watch every one of, Baylor's games. I don't watch every one of, NC State's game. I don't know what goes on. Yeah. But man, when you look closely and then you see the comparison of, Ryan Day is on the field. I get that the headset didn't hit the ground, but he still took it off his head to throw it into his other hand while he was on the field, and he was only given a warning.
Jumping,
stomping, throwing a toddler tantrum, really.
In the vicinity of referees.
Yeah.
No, I think it's more likely in this scenario that maybe it wasn't a bias against Nebraska, although I think we have our theories there that it feels that way. But more so, I think it's a protection of Ohio State's prestige and place in the college football season. That to me is what was going on, and I'm convinced of that the referees, whether it's conscious or unconscious, it's Ohio State. It's that silver and red, and we're at Ohio Stadium, and it just feels like, hey, where can we kind of just throw a couple extra bones their way to make sure that this thing doesn't go the way somebody in college football world, powers that be, don't want.
And we've seen that already with Miami this year, and what the ACC's done for them. I think they've been bailed out at least 2, if not 3 games.
Yeah. There's a story. There's an overarching storyline with all these programs that I'm convinced that there's a sense of protection to, we want to protect. This is a product they're putting out there. The college football is a product every year, and so we want that product to be a certain thing. Yeah, it feels icky, but
it does. It feels icky. It looks icky. Again, does that mean Nebraska wins the game? I don't know, because I look back to think, if Nebraska scores a touchdown rather than kicks a field goal, maybe Ohio State does something different coming out of the half. The game, it's not saying we would have won the game, but when you play athletics, the goal of an official is to provide an equal playing field.
Yeah.
And because there, like you said, there's those guys in the booth or the central command center headquarters, wherever they're at in the world, they're watching on television. They can see better than the referees can, who are 25 yards away on the sideline as a ball is, as the runner goes down. So, it's like, hey, like, you buzz in, do what's right.
Yeah.
Don't do what's wrong. Otherwise we can't trust anything. And I don't want to get to that point with sports where I'm like, is this the WWE? Is everything rigged? Does Nebraska, if we don't have a chance, then just tell me now so I can give up watching. And I don't have to be a fan anymore.
I've already had those feelings at times, where I think that oftentimes in NBA playoffs, NCAA basketball tournament, where it's just like, how is it always so close? How is it buzzer beater? Like, it feels like there's a protection of the product a little bit. Like, maybe not so much in who wins and loses, but refs can control so much with just trying to even out foul calls and that type of thing, and what they let go and what they don't let go. So what's the solution? I was thinking about this, like, say it's pure, say their motives are totally innocent and they're just doing a bad job at their jobs. I like how Matt Rule said, I can't be getting apologies on Sundays anymore. Like that. Yeah. What's going to change?
I mean, my initial thought is they have to centralize. So no more Big Ten refs, ACC refs, SEC, none of that. I understand the model would still not perfect. So college basketball has a national model. There's no conference refs. However, because people live in certain places and it's expensive to travel, you're going to have guys who are regional, right? Like if they live in the Midwest or the Great Lakes region, they're going to get those games. So you kind of have a de facto Big Ten refs, right? And we saw that in basketball last year. We had a lot of the same guys ref Nebraska games. And it's kind of the same story. I know it makes us sound biased. Like Nebraska couldn't get calls on the road, which when you're trying to break through a ceiling, it's tough when you aren't given the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But I think centralizing officiating and having, kind of an executive team, council, whatever you'd call them, who oversee the whole operation.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm sure they grade them. I get that. But really, and I know this has been mentioned ad nauseum, referees they're public. They're not celebrities, but their job is public, and they have to do a press conference after the game.
I agree.
Like they have to be held accountable. If a coach and a quarterback are going to go talk to the press, then man, at least put the head official there to say, what were you guys doing on that third down call when Nebraska got the first down? Oh, yada, yada. Okay. Why didn't the booth buzz in and tell you got it wrong?
And
You
then
know, they
accountability after that, because it's not just enough to say, "Oh, we messed up."
Yep.
Like,
Yep. And I think that central governing body, because here's the thing about the central governing body. They don't care who gets to the college football playoff in a perfect world. But a Big Ten crew, when you have a one-loss Ohio State team that really can't afford another loss
right.
if they want to get to the playoff. I mean, in my opinion, especially to a Nebraska, right? Unranked, you lose
Yep.
to Nebraska, you're probably out of the playoff. But a Big Ten crew, they might care because it's their conference. And so I think if you have this decentralized model where, yeah, you're just taking care of your own, like we're just going to continue to spiral and have this happen over and over and over again, year
Yep.
after year.
Yeah. That's the hard part, is how do you take that human element out of it? Because they walk into stadiums. They know, if you're reffing a college game day night game at LSU against two top 5 teams, like you're going to ref that game differently than you're going to ref Vanderbilt and Mississippi State on it. You know what I mean? Like, so how do you wish there was you could just send in the robots, or have kind of, like you're on jury duty, they have to sit in a hotel room for the entire college football season and not have a TV or any, it'd be nice if they could just come in totally, sterilized from everything that's going on.
And I recognize it's not like baseball where you could automate balls and strikes in baseball, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the capacity to do that. But in football, you have to have a referee.
Yeah.
Because other than maybe spots, there's not a lot you can automate because of the nature of the game. So,
can't you automate? This is totally, I'm just joking, but we automate like jerseys and gloves. So like if a jersey gets pulled to a certain
buzzes, there's a buzz in the referee's ear, and he automatically throws a flag.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, one thing I just wonder about, and I know we don't want to slow the game down more and make it more cumbersome, because it can be that way with reviews. There's a lot being reviewed anyway. Also, although it kind of feels a little less this year for some reason. But what about a team being allotted so many, like specifically penalty challenges?
Challenges,
yeah.
Challenges.
Like three extra, 3 specific to penalties versus.
I don't understand why we don't have that, to be honest. I can't believe that we have a replay system, but we don't have something like, I don't get why, like football is football. NFL and college are different, but if it works in the NFL, why wouldn't you just use it in college? They brought in the 2-minute timeout. You're getting closer to the professional game. Pretty soon, players are going to be receiving payments for play anyway. Use the NFL model. The review model in the NFL seems to work for the most part. It's not perfect.
And I'm talking like, how nice would it be to have it on an obvious? There's no like, is it conclusive? Is it not? If Matt Rule can throw a flag and say Ja'Cory Barney was held at the top of his route on that, like there's no like subjectivity to that. It's like, oh yeah, the jersey was pulled. It's slow.
Well, see, that's the thing to me also that is interesting about this whole conversation, is it goes back to this idea that whoever the official, the NCAA, like penalties cannot be reviewed.
Right.
And I'm like, but penalties are significant parts of games.
Absolutely.
And so if it influences the play, like, so say a guy gets held, they miss it, but Dylan doesn't even look at that guy and he throws it deep.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Whatever.
You can say
that.
But
But on this play that you're talking about with Barney going over the middle, not only did he get his jersey pulled and held, there was pass interference at the end of the play.
Yeah.
Right. So the DB actually committed 2 fouls on one play, and neither of them were called. I agree. Matt Rule should be able to throw that. But then, like in volleyball, right? You keep, I think it's in volleyball, you keep your challenge, right? You put up the card, and if you win it, you keep it. So it's like, you don't, I have to check that. I think they might keep their challenge cards. But it's like, hey, if you challenge all day long and you keep winning, you don't lose them.
Yeah.
Because then what it would show is officials, you're incompetent and you're not getting it right.
Exactly. And
But
maybe it's not even the officials on the field then that review that, but it just automatically goes to the booth. And then, then you have kind of you can have a scoring system. Hey, the refs lost this many challenges to the coaches in this game. Like
now I get to Rule's point at his press conference. He said, I want them to just make the call and we live with it.
Yeah.
There's that side of it too, where have we gone too far with replay and slow motion, and we only now let's just say we only review scoring plays and under 2 minutes in the half, right? And you just go back to what we used to have. But also there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if I want to go back to what we used to have.
Yeah. Or
I'm gonna pause this again.
Okay, yeah, so I had one other crazy thought is maybe you just get to challenge on third down, because how many times in recent Husker memory we get a team on like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and we get a stupid bogus interference or unsportsmanlike conduct, or I don't know, whatever. It just feels like a lot of plays that wipe away. You're about to get off the field and then they get awarded a first down. That's pretty frustrating.
Why not? Something has to be better than the system we have right now. So,
yep.
All right. Well, let's talk UCLA here quick. We both think Nebraska's going to win.
Yep.
I'm curious why you think Nebraska will come out on top.
I think it's. I think I trust what Rule said. Kind of, he had his whole philosophical statement after the game that he wants to see them prove it, but I feel like. I just feel like there might be a shifting tide here. I think maybe the blowout might not be the worst thing in the world if it proves to be that we came out against Ohio State charged up, and then we come out in this one. I think getting the monkey off our back would really propel us into the rest of the season. So we're at home. It's kind of homecoming. It's been what 4 weeks since we played at home. I mean 3
with the bye week. Yeah. I mean, really, it's good news that it's at home, because I'd worry about. I mean, you think, okay, 11 a.m. at Ohio State was a little bit of a sleepy environment for what we've heard. Damon Benning talked about that. Could you imagine playing 2-5 UCLA at the Rose Bowl
in a 3/4, full stadium?
At what's the game start there? 12:30.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like. That would be a nightmare. So super glad it'll be at home.
Yep.
It'll probably be the most fired up crowd UCLA will play in front of all year long.
Yeah. I think fans are going to be hungry for it. I think, it's just kind of like recapturing a little bit of that energy that we had against Colorado. Now it's a completely different, type of environment and stakes and all of that, but there's a lot of stakes. So
I agree. Now, what do you think about UCLA as a team? I know people have said, oh, they're playing better as of late. Okay. They lost 5 games in a row, from September 14th to October 12th. They beat Rutgers last week. Barely, just as we had. So, they've struggled against, the 2. Well, they played 3 really good teams. Actually, 4. Sorry, they've had a hard schedule. I didn't see LSU. I mean, they played Indiana, LSU, Oregon, Penn State, right? So you're talking, you've played 4 top 10 teams. I don't think LSU's still a top 10 team, but they've had a tough schedule.
Yeah,
and maybe they're not as bad. I know that they're probably not as bad as their record shows, but they still haven't won the games, and they've struggled. They've struggled in the games they've lost, giving up a lot of plays.
Playing on the.
Okay, so if you've been listening and watching, we've had these weird cuts, and here's why. So Andrew and I, we both have kids, and one of mine, our youngest, who's 5, was sick. Kind of is sick. He doesn't normally wake up this much this early. It's only, we're recording this at 10:22 Central Time. He's come in so many times and then you had a kid come in.
I just had a 2-year-old, on my lap.
We love our kids. We're going to call an audible, and we're going to go through predictions for UCLA really quick, and then we'll push the basketball preview to next week, next time. Because let's be honest, Nebraska basketball they're going to win their first game. They play Texas Rio Grande Valley. Okay, I didn't know that was a school. So they UTRGV. They're going to win that game. Their kickoff, their first game is they kick off the season November 4th. So we'll do basketball another time. Might even get it in before November 4th. But I want to hear what you think. Let's do this. Score prediction for UCLA. Who's the guy that stands out? And if you have an oddly specific prediction.
Okay. So I have Nebraska 27, UCLA 12. I don't know how they come to 12. Maybe there's a safety, something weird. Maybe a missed extra point or
or 2 or 4 field goals.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
27-12. Huskers.
Okay.
We get to bowl eligibility. My standout, I'm going to say Jamari Butler. I know it's not not a bold.
Dang it. I was going to say Jamari Butler, so I'm going to have to change. All right. Okay.
And here's why, because I have him in my oddly specific. I think he gets a pick off a batted ball in the second quarter.
Okay. I love that.
But on top of that, I think he's in the backfield a lot.
Yeah, he had a great game last week. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to again, we didn't have time. Kids, UCLA really struggles defensively, but they played some great teams. They've struggled with the passing defense. So what I'm looking for in the game is, I say this almost every game, can we run the ball when we want to run the ball? It's not like Nebraska needs to run the ball 40 times for 280 yards. That would be awesome, and it means you win the game. But can we run it when we want to run it? 3rd and short, in the red zone, etc. But I really do think Nebraska is going to try to exploit the defensive backfield for UCLA because they've struggled all year long. So for a prediction, I actually think Nebraska's just offensively going to do enough. I think offensively for UCLA, they're going to struggle to score. I said it on Twitter on Saturday night. I think Nebraska could easily win this game by 2 or 3 scores. So I'm going to say Nebraska 23, give John Hole another couple field goals. UCLA 7. So 23-7. I was going to say Jamari Butler, but I'm going to have to change this on the fly. And man, you know what? It'd really be nice if a running back got to 100 yards, but I just don't see that happening. I'm thinking through my options here. I'm going to go defensively again. I think James Williams he's due for another big game.
There we go.
Yeah. So I'm going to say James Williams picks up another couple sacks, and that you hear his name more often than we did against Ohio State. Yeah. For an oddly specific prediction, I mentioned Hull getting 2 field goals, and I think that I'm going to say he hits another one to end the half.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be 54 yards, but I'm going to say John Hull hits another field goal to end the half.
2 weeks in a row
against UCLA. Yeah. And then his confidence is just going to skyrocket through the roof. And what you're going to see going into the end of the year next year is a field goal competition between him and Tristan Ovano once he gets healthy.
Will it even be one?
Will it even be one? Gosh, if he keeps hitting field goals and he hits them at the buzzer, there's no more competition. You go with the hot hand when it's a kicker. So,
yeah.
All right. So we're going to shut it down there.
We're going bowling.
And then we are going bowling. Did you see this? I saw it floating around the internet. The last bowl game Nebraska won was against UCLA.
Yep. Tommy Armstrong. Stanley
Comes
Moore.
full circle.
Yep.
Comes full circle.
Is this, I mean, is this going to be worthy of like the whole Little Red sacrifice at midfield type thing? Like,
do we do that?
do we just do that in this
game if that happens?
Yep.
I mean, if the bowl streak is broken, or the no bowl streak is broken, you don't really have to sacrifice Little Red.
No, but
it would probably traumatize, future generations of Husker fans if we did that at the game, because that's why they go to the games, is to see Little Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta do something. Tear down. No, don't tear down goalposts, but go march in the streets. I don't know.
Is Frank going to be at the game? Frank Solich? Is he in town?
I don't know.
I feel like he should be.
I think Rule keeps saying he's been at practice and whatnot. So
you know what? I mean, this is the week. You got to feel really good about this. You're playing again, I said this last week, 2-5 UCLA comes to town.
Yeah.
Bowl eligibility on the line. You cannot let them leave Lincoln with a win.
No.
And when you're up 7-0, 10-0, whatever it is, step on their throats and win the game.
Yeah.
Go win the game. I think it'll happen.
Yep.
All right. We're going to call it good so we can go tend to our children. That's part of life. Thanks for tuning in, Andrew. Always good to chat. You're going to get to see the game this week because it's not in the morning. That's great.
Yep. I'm watching it live as it happens.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Take care. Go Big Red.